more supportive characters. You see their lineup here. We have Mirk up in the top lane, Aurôra in the jungle, LPJ 26 in the mid lane, Kooops in the AD carry, and Plëb there in the support role overall. And their opponents on the red side are...
Yeah, their opponents, once again, from Canterbury, it is Jungle God in the top lane, and not the jungle. Device 1 in the jungle instead of the God. Marblefade in mid lane. Pink Coat in the bot lane position. And Yellow Coat on support.
Yeah, good little synergy in the naming there, but I definitely think Canterbury had a really strong showing out of their mid laner, Marble, and also Pinkcoat well, on the AD carry role. I think, the Alice Yellow Coat did alright. Obviously, probably Alice is not his most familiar champion, kind of evident in a couple of different things he did, but overall, I think it's definitely stronger towards that bot side for Canterbury, yeah, sorry. I think, they definitely, if they play through bot and mid side correctly, I think they can definitely take it to this SBS squad, who is obviously looking a lot stronger. I think Aurôra, is obviously going to be that key pickup for them as we now jumping into picks and bans here in the draft phase.
Yeah, that's right. Our game will be starting very, very shortly, but first we need to find out who is actually going to be playing in this game of League of Legends. So, at the start of every game, we have what we call the picks and bans phase, where we ban certain champions away and select other ones in a organized format. This is where a lot of the strategy really comes through.
Yeah, interesting as well to note, Aurôra has actually swapped from top to jungle, and Jungle God is now playing in the jungle for Canterbury as well.
Yeah, so Jungle God actually going to be living up to his name in that jungle position, perhaps. We'll see how this picks and ban goes. Already, a lot of focus actually kind of thrown towards that jungle in that Master Yi ban. Definitely not something I was expecting to see. Definitely targeted as well at Canterbury, but other than that, a lot of AD carries actually. Riven, Zed, Aatrox all banned away. Finally, some mages are getting taken off the board as Vladimir is removed by St. Paul.
And Zoe as well taken away from LPJ 20, or LJP, sorry, 26. One of his prized picks there in the mid lane. The Zoe and the Syndra are, two things we kind of saw him on, but definitely, looking a little bit exploitative on those champions. Those immobile mages are very difficult to play at a high level, so no blame to him, of course. But we see Mirk here up on the top side, locking in the Kai'Sa for Kooops down in the jungle.
Yes, and that will leave up Darius to be open. Queensland meta in full effect right now. That will get locked in by Device 1. Jungle God opting to go for the Ekko. That could be flex mid. It could be jungle as well. I do expect it to be run by Marblefade, however.
Well, I don't know, he only got a buff, obviously, this is on Tournament Realms, so actually a patch behind live, so this is 9.15, not 1.16, in which case Ekko did get a nice little buff on 9.16 for his mid lane, but his jungle was still very good in 9.15, so obviously can be flexed between those two roles, and Plëb is picking up the Thresh, so Mirk and, Kooops and Plëb on two very comfortable picks here, Thresh and the Kai'Sa locked in as well, and LPJ hovering that Syndra.
And Syndra will get locked in right there for St. Paul's. You okay there?
No. If you do recall back, or memory, let us flow back to the finals of the High School League of Legends Championship. All games that St. Paul's lost happened to be one of the games that really set them home was the Syndra into Ekko matchup, which is one of the hardest counters in the game. And St. Paul's opted into it. And now again, LPJ has opted into this counter matchup in which he's been, we've seen the Syndra versus Ekko so many times, and every single time the Ekko is hard stomped. So once again, LPJ going to that comfort over the meta, but I still think in a scenario like this, picking something like a Karma, picking something like a Lulu mid even, very easy to play and very simple, just don't die and help your team is definitely more beneficial than the Syndra who, although just did get a buff, not on this patch yet as well. So would potentially be decent next patch, but at the moment, not the case.
Yeah, that said, Canterbury did respond with the Yuumi lock-in. First time we're seeing Yuumi on stage. Very excited to see the little cat in action. That will be run by Yellow Coat and really further emphasizes how Canterbury wants to play around the bot side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, Canterbury, obviously Yuumi as well is very pressure-heavy laner. You compare it with a lot of different AD carries. Ezreal is probably one of the prime ones, or Sivir as well, who's still on the board, one of the strongest pairings in the game. I think that's probably the best bot lane. You got Zyra Khan, Caitlyn Morg, Sivir, Yuumi, all very strong bot lanes right now that can be taken. And be very impressive as well. But we'll have to see exactly what they opt for to pair up with this Yuumi, who's one of the most prized supports in the game. Besides maybe that Rakan if you pair it with Desire. And Volibear as well taken off the board.
Yeah, interesting ban on that Volibear right there. Yes, it's popular in the meta, but very niche. However, the Sivir was left up, which is arguably Yumi's best AD carry counterpart. So Canterbury getting exactly what they wanted, the instant lock-in on that Sivir. In response, those St. Paul's going for the larger cat, being Rengar. That will be run by Aurôra in the jungle. All that leaves left is the top lane. It will be into that Darius, and they're going to opt for the Maokai.
Don't know about that matchup up on the top side. I think Maokai kind of gets hard stopped by Darius. One of the oldest traditional counters in the game, but it looks like they've just decided to go with it anyways. We see Yasuo, the final lock-in for, looks like Marblefade in that mid lane. So they're playing Yasuo into Syndra, which again is a counter matchup into the Syndra, so it's a very strong matchup. Jungle God taking the Ekko as well. So I feel like this game is definitely going to be on Aurôra here on this Rengar to get some kills early and start carrying his team, because I think the rest of the team is really looking quite weak against what Canterbury assembled.
Yeah, it definitely St. Paul's making it a bit difficult for themselves coming into this match, but if we go back to how each of these teams performed during our regular season, during our playoffs, St. Paul's was the team that advanced a lot further. Yeah. They are definitely, you know, on paper, probably the more individually talented team, but it's all about how you play as a team. And from this picks and bans, as you've mentioned like a few times in this one, Canterbury seems to have those better lane matchups, and there's a real possibility that the red side in this game sort of takes advantage early, wins lane, wins game.
But then again, we had that very similar situation last game where Canterbury had superior lanes, superior matchups in all the roles, but they just didn't execute correctly, and as a result, the entire game got turned around on them, and they actually ended up going down and losing that game despite being, thousands and thousands of God ahead. So they have a tendency to throw, which SPS, also kind of share that tendency, right? They kind of threw in that very first game against KG4 on stage. I believe they're up like 4k gold, 5k gold, and they went for a Baron and got aced, and then the whole game turned around from there. But as the players now are loading onto the Rift, we'll be jumping and seeing them here very, very shortly. But I mean, interesting across the board. It's very interesting team comps. I think St. Paul's is very much a little bit more solo queue-esque. Their synergies aren't as strong, and most of the champions are, sort of like, Kaiser, Thresh are right. Maokai is pretty decent, but none of them are really too meta. It's not like normal champions you would see. Whether on the other side here for Canterbury, you've got a very much more meta bot lane. Marblefade on this Yasuo is a little bit off meta, but I still think into the Syndra it's a very good matchup, and you can see it picked in pro. But the Ekko and the Darius are really where you see them divulge. But I think the whole team as a whole works together really well, right? It's about spreading the map out, getting those side lanes pushed. Sivir obviously being one of the strongest wave clear AD carries in the game in that mid lane, able to constantly press through that lane and set up a really strong 1-3-1. And Ekko, of course, a great roaming jungler, the Predator as well to assist with it. Means he can move between those lanes and support those side laners, as well as helping out the Sivir in the mid lane.
Yeah, as we had, getting into this map now as well, what you saw at the start of that game was St. Paul's moving as a group of 5. That's the first time we've actually seen a team do that in this one. Unfortunately for the blue side, they did get spotted out by Device. No deep wards were being able to be placed by St. Paul's side. I do not believe Canterbury reacted, however, on the opposite end of the map. So junglers are going to have a hard time, tracking each other, knowing where they're at. However, you're going to have to go with what's generally expected. And for Ekko, that is actually starting off that blue buff. Yeah, I mean, Ekko is very much easy to track, has to start blue here. But the Rengar, of course, usually has to start his red as well. So they should know both where these junglers are starting. Also, given the fact there's no leash up on the top side, from either side, the bot lanes are both missing. You know that it's a bot side start, so they will actually know where these junglers are beginning. Yeah, but it's where they go after that that becomes important, especially when you talk about early ganking pressure. I know Ekko typically hits a very strong level 2, level 3 power spike, so that's something that I feel St. Paul's needs to be wary of. Jungle God could be making one of those early exciting plays. On the opposite side as well, Aurôra, a very strong player in his own right. If he finds an opening, will strike on that Rengar, and that's really something that St. Paul's needs in order to carry themselves into this late game. So, similar to what we saw before our lunch break, Aurôra and Jungle God, the two players in the jungle position, are the two that we really need to be paying the most attention to during the first 15 minutes of this match. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think a lot of focus needs to be put towards this mid game. You see Aurôra already coming in for him. Yeah, Aurôra already making himself known. Not going to find too much of an opening there onto Marblefade. Unfortunately for him, that was a good sort of dropping back by Marblefade. I mean, trying to control the wave. It can be a little bit difficult on Yasuo, the champion he's playing, just because how easy it is to shove it in. And that could lead to dangerous situations if the vision isn't there. However, good instincts on him to start this game off.
Yeah, I mean, precisely. I think I will do, as I said in the pregame, you know, really it's about getting through this mid lane. I think that's St. Paul's kind of biggest weakness as a side, and where Canterbury, obviously the team who's less likely to win coming into the game, can really start to punish them and move through. But I think this top side of the map as well, the Darius is so strong into this Maokai, given the fact he just shreds tanks with his passive, and with, you know, most of his abilities doing % max HP damage. So Darius as well, very strong counter to this tanky Maokai. And I think as long as Ekko is playing around the Yasuo and the Darius, I think the bot lane of Sivir is going to be very safe, you know, they just want to farm up, get to Sivir to 2 items, and then look at the team fight. So I really want to see Ekko hard camping his top side of the map and really helping them get ahead.
Yeah, that definitely, we should be seeing something more prevalent, I think, in 3 or 4 minutes, should Jungle God opt to play in that regard. At the moment, though, aside from that little peak from Aurôra, it's been a fairly controlled start. If anything is going to happen in these lanes, it's actually Plëb who I'm looking for to make that play with the Thresh Death Sentence. That is that hook you see him throw out right there. If that actually hits an opposing player as opposed to that caster minion, then something might happen in the bot side, as Sky of the Week actually gets a cheeky little stun right there on the Marblefade, who needs to be a little bit careful. There are these intricate sort of playmaking abilities that we might see in these lanes, but really across the map, it's going to be hard for a solo kill to happen.
Yeah, very much so. I think the only lane you could really see a solo kill is in the mid lane after the Yasuo grabs at 6, but Syndra also has barrier, so Yasuo is going to want to try force that barrier out before he gets that last breath off, and maybe try to take them down that way.
Yep, as we come down bot right now, Death Sense you see hits a minion, and that could be an opening for Canterbury. Jungle God jumping in, getting a lot of damage down onto Plëb. Pink Coat was looking for the possibility there, but they don't want to risk diving underneath the tower.
Yeah, unfortunately, Pink Coat not having, also Ekko not being able to get that 3rd stack, but Plëb just barely staying alive. They're not too bad though overall, getting the kill down, getting a lot of damage. Unfortunately, Yuumi didn't have Ignite. I feel like with Ignite, you could have probably dropped a kill down onto that Thresh, but overall, good summoners on. No summoners either, so it's a good escape from St. Paul's and not burning anything, but a little bit of pressure being applied.
Yeah, good patience right there as we take a look at our top laners. It's Device doing a lot of damage against this Maokai. He's trying to knock the Darius back, flash for flash, but Device can't connect.
Ghost burnt as well from the Darius, so I mean, Mirk living to, you know, sit around another day, grow another tree root, but at the end of the day, Darius are getting a huge advantage, forcing him out of lane. We'll get to shove a lane and get the potentially better back time, and that's very essential given the fact he has no TP.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to try and get that back. Mirk is going to be able to teleport right back up top, so both summoners used by each top laner makes that top lane even more vulnerable if either of the junglers, so Aurôra or Jungle God, opt to head towards that top lane and apply more pressure on that end of the map. But we have passed that 5 minutes mark, which means dragons are now in play. If you take a look at the bot half of the map on that mini-map, you can see that little brown logo right there. That means there is a mountain dragon, and that is really the first major objective that we could see these teams fight over.
Yeah, I definitely think so. Mountain Dragon as well, a great early game objective. You know, does a lot of extra damage to towers and really helps you secure these objectives, especially the big Baron. Later on in the game, we see Aurôra clearing out that Wolves camp, walking around, doing his best.
Yeah, doing his best really to establish vision around there. It's interesting, as you can see, each team has decided to opt some vision pressure on the bot side of the map, despite the junglers actually on the opposite side. So if anyone does make a cheeky move for that dragon, it will be spotted out. However, that's not where the pressure is being applied.
No, it's not really, and you know, this mid lane is where the pressure really needs to be put on, right? Marblefade is going to be your key carry here on this Yasuo.
Ooh, Jungle God found out in his own jungle. Mirk, a long roam from that top lane, but the damage from Aurôra is there. First blood going to St. Paul's.
Yeah, good little catch out there. Jungle God, unfortunately, in the wrong place at the wrong time. A good little roam there from Mirk to help assist his jungle in getting this Rift Herald, not Rift Herald, Rift Scuttle, sorry. And of course, a kill on Ekko as a result. But Marblefade had to be very careful here, knowing that Ekko is just around the corner. Yeah,
Marblefade definitely, you know, could be in trouble. Aurôra in the area. Could be seeing a potential gank. No help. The Scour of the Week did connect, so stunned in place. The wind wall's not going to do too much, however. The follow-up from Aurôra, not quite there.
Interesting flash there. I think Marblefade would have been alright if he got hit by one more. Summoner, of course, Rengar didn't have 6, and Syndra had no mana, so there wasn't a lot of follow-up able to come through from either of them. I definitely turn that around, maybe getting a double knock-up and turn that into a kill very quickly, but I didn't actually want to pull the trigger on this Yasuo just yet. Wanted to sit back, farm up a little bit more, get a little bit more gold and just relax in this lane. We've seen Invade though, Ekko forcing the Rengar out of his jungle.
Yeah, Jungle God wants a bit of a revenge and will find it. A cheeky invade gets Canterbury back on the board. So 1-1 in terms of kills, nearly even in terms of gold. A very close opening match.
the one thing I like to say about Jungle God, he's not actually farming his jungle at all. 29 CS to 46. This Rengar is super far ahead, given the fact that, you know, he should actually be, you know, even with the Rengar struggles to farm early on before.
Oh my gosh, this damage coming from Device onto Mirk. It makes sense, right? Darius has a giant axe, and Mirk is playing a giant tree, so really trying to chop it down right there. See, some things in this game can make sense even at that most basic level. Big axe cuts down tree.
Big axe beats tree. Very simple, you know. Small man with sword uses wind magic, beats mage that throws up tower. Simple. You know?
As we were taking a look at a little action around that dragon pick, you saw that death sentence come through. That was just a case of Plëb making sure Canterbury hasn't initiated that Mountain Drake. If they had, we would have seen something crazy, I believe, go down, like some collapse of some sort. Instead, each team started continuing to track that dragon, making sure neither team makes a play on that first major objective before the other. But with the way how time is going, we do have Rift Herald spawning onto the map very shortly.
Yeah, and once that Rift Herald spawns, it's going to be a very key objective for both these sides who want to get it down and get extra tower platings, right? You see this bot lane winning pretty hard here for Canterbury, up about 20 CS into that scaling matchup. I think the Sivir Yumi is, you know, very, very strong lane. And,
Plëb is going in. He's dropping that lantern for Aurôra, who opts not to take. He's jumping through the last chapter. Instead, finds the kill onto Pinkcoat, as poor Yellowcoat on this Yumi can't do too much. Kooops flashes forward, but is exhausted immediately, and the Yumi turns it around 1-for-1.
Yeah, exhaust and heal burnt there by Yellowcoat. Obviously, Kooops getting a little bit excited thinking he'd go for that kill, but unfortunately just goes down there and not unfortunately able to pick up that kill. But now on the other side, Aurôra doing great coming in for that gank there. I'm surprised they got Pinkcoat down, given the fact he has bullshot and had flash available as well, so couldn't unfortunately flash out of there, but thankfully they did get him, or else that could have been a disastrous gank.
Yeah, but you still have to, you know, definitely give Yellowcoat credit in that one for turning around under tower. Kooops, a bit of a misplay. Canterbury keeping even in kills, but Pinkcoat needs to be careful. Here comes the gank in the 2v1. There is the flash. The spell shield's not going to do too much. Yellowcoat, though, with a timely save, keeps this Sivir alive. Meanwhile, up top, Predator has been used because here comes the Jungle God. They're trying to turn onto Mirk. They get the stun, and despite the ultimate being dropped, the guillotine will fall and the tree gets cut down.
Yeah, the tree gets slammed into the ground. Ekko, thankfully, just sneaking into that parallel convergence. They're getting the stun up on the Mount Grass. I think Mirk was out to go, but Marblefade did.
Ooh, here we go. Marblefade looking for that solo kill. LJP chunked quite low, so that is exactly what this Yasuo wants. Bully the Syndra, force her out of that lane. Get your lane shoving, because take a look at the CS advantage already accrued by this Yasuo.
Yeah, Yasuo's a very large CS lead, almost 10 CS PM, so perfect CS here from Marblefade, which is very impressive. But what this Yasuo needs to do in this lane now is actually freeze the wave. He needs to freeze the wave at his tower and force the immobile mage of Syndra to actually come up and contest the wave, because right now he's just constantly shoving in, which means LPJ is getting free time just to sit on the tower and farm. And farming on the tower is actually very easy with Syndra, because you have the Dark Sphere, not Dark Sphere, the W, what's the W?
1 second at the moment, a bit of a tower dive happening in that situation. Actually turning around, Jungle God using the ultimate, goes back under tower, has to burn his stopwatch, so he's going to buy some time. Aurôra in his face, trying to chase this Ekko down, and his Marblefade, who could be paying the price. A clutch knockup though, and they turn it around. Here comes the Void Seeker, it does not connect. You can see Plëb is still looking possibly for that clutch death sense. It connects as Mirk comes from above, jumping in his Kooops. He should be able to find Jungle God, who stays alive with the parallel conversions, finally gets shut down. Meanwhile, Device, he was late to the party, he'll fall as well, so St. Paul's turning it right back.
Yeah, Jungle God there, not really showing his godhood there. Going back with that ultimate was very interesting. Maybe it was a misclick, maybe it was a misbutton. It also could have been seeing the Rengar come through with the ultimate and not wanting to die, right? Giving the extra HP, but I still think it was better for him to just go down there. You wouldn't have lost a lot. Like, sure, you still forced Syndra out of lane, and Yasuo could have maybe even turned it onto the Rengar if you were on an isolated 1v1. And, you know, he did still get the kill down on the Aurôra, but just that extra follow-up as well. Kooops now getting a bit of gold back for himself despite being so far behind.
Yes, it was a great turnaround for St. Paul's. It really was starting to look like Canterbury might be in a position to run away with this game, but that clutch turnaround brings St. Paul's back into an even situation, and really this game's still quite on a knife's edge. Neither team grabbing hold of that early advantage. If we take a look at tower platings across the map, yes, Canterbury has a bit of a lead, but then when you counter that with the sort of CS differentials as well, all right, Aurora's doing fine, but Canterbury winning in mid, winning in bot, top pretty even, but I feel like every time we go up there, it is much more Device bullying Mirk. Canterbury, they're going to have an opportunity earlier in this game to take it over before St. Paul's, and I'm wondering how defensive can St. Paul's play?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest issue is that Aurôra is actually so far ahead of Jungle God in this jungle. I think if you look at the gold lead, it'll be all on that Rengar. I think it should be, roughly 1.5k in his favor. I think Yasuo is super far ahead of the Syndra as well, which is we're kind of balancing it out, right? They're both equally as far ahead of each other. We see Aurôra back up in this top.
Yeah, Aurôra coming up top. It gets an early flash out device who actually might make it to the tower, but he turns around. Yes, Ghost was used. There's no flash available, and Aurôra will find the kill.
Yeah, Aurôra on this Rengar, as I said, is going to have to be that key carry for St. Paul's. If this Rengar's getting ahead, he'll be useful, because if he falls behind, he's going to be doing absolutely nothing to any of these carries. And I feel like Device here up on this top lane is not really realizing what his role is now. He's just start getting a little bit tankier. Should be just going for Black Cleaver into the Dead Man's Plate. Just try and win the 1v1 on the sideline.
Yeah, that's definitely an option as Marblefade looking for that engage on LJP. Connects with that last breath, forcing out the flash from the Syndra, who might try to turn things around, but a beautiful win wall stops the Scatter of the Weak, so no damage return. Trade definitely going in Marblefade's favor.
Yeah, I mean, Marblefade is the, obviously the winner of that lane. Static Shift now completed an entire item above LPJ, and LPJ really struggling in this game.
Yes, as we're seeing the pings coming down for the Dragon, we've actually gone 14 minutes into this game without any play towards the Mountain Drake, which is quite surprising. I believe this is the longest that we've seen so far at the Ekka, not just today, but all 3 days we've been here. Yeah. Neither team really feeling confident enough to make a play around it. That said, though, with junglers in the area, perhaps we might see that Dragon fight.
I mean, I just want to see Marblefade versus Aurôra. I think that's going to be the key matchup this game. This Yasuo is, very strong. It's definitely the strongest member on Canterbury's team, and it's one of those situations where it's going to be a 0-10 Yasuo. This is my team's Yasuo versus other team's Yasuo. I think it's definitely other team's Yasuo so far this game. First Blood Tower in the bot side also going over to Canterbury. So, despite... I mean, the problem is with Canterbury, they just haven't ballooned this goal lead because Aurôra is just keeping St. Paul's in this game. Obviously, they're the highest ranked player, they're diamond player, they're carry. Just cannot, go even with what's going on the other side. And St. Paul's, just still in this game, even though Canterbury should be closing it out. And it's feeling very similar to that first game, right? Canterbury feeling like they're ahead, but not actually being, as far ahead as maybe they were with the last time. And just poor macro choices or just poor rotations, poor backs, poor resets, kind of costing them a little bit here. Just see the amount of damage getting done onto this tower.
Marblefade in a lot of trouble. It's a 3v1, and he will quickly fall the box, helping secure that kill. It actually goes over to LJP, which is quite interesting because Syndra has struggled a lot early in this game, and I'm sure is loving that extra bit of gold, but I think it would have been more beneficial for the blue side had it gone over to Aurôra.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree. I think Aurôra here on this Rengar could have definitely done a lot more with that goal, but it looks like they will be able to pick up the Mountain Drake now that Marblefade is down the big threat, but it sounds like they'll just still be a little bit too scared of this bot lane to actually go for it.
Yeah, St. Paul's, they're playing such a sort of hit-and-run game. Like, they're not really willing to commit to anything just yet, which I find interesting. Like, I believe each team is actually playing this smart in the sense of they're recognizing they're not as ahead or behind as they might feel, so they're really showing a lot of respect to the kind of damage and outplay potential of their opponents. Yeah. That said, this is going to break eventually. Someone is going to make that critical move, and I'm thinking it should come from St. Paul's side, but if history has taught us anything, Canterbury, when they start to feel that pressure, their initial reaction is to, let's fight, let's go for it. So I wouldn't be surprised if Canterbury pulled that trigger first.
Yeah, I mean, they could do that, but that's definitely the downfall of the previous game. So hopefully they take it a little bit smarter, a little bit more controlled. And I think, Canterbury's biggest issue, they get picked off way too much. They think way too much about what they can do and not what their opponents can do or where they are. I think that was probably one of their biggest issues. You can see they are now on the Mountain Dragon, but they are still unaware of Plëb over the wall.
Yeah, but really, Plëb does not have smite, so the Mountain Dragon is actually stolen off camera. They didn't see Plëb, and yet he was able to find it. A huge cheeky take from St. Paul's.
I mean, Jungle God didn't have smite, obviously, so couldn't... Oh, no, he must have had smite because it's up again. 50-second cooldown, so he would have just miss-smited it, which is a huge mistake from the Canterbury jungler.
Yeah, Device in trouble right now. Here comes that tower dive. This Darius is going to try to get some of that health back. Actually gets a significant amount, and with that, Ghost is looking to escape. A beautiful trap from Aurôra, however, will hold him in place. Device trying to hide in the jungle. Gets some more of that health, looking for that outplay, but does not have the damage to win the 2v1. However, Jungle God is here as well as this Yuumi. The Lost Chapter helps takes down this Aurôra, and that is a huge take for the Ekko. Jungle God, only one more target inside, and it is Mirk. The slow coming through from Yellowcoat will help bring him down. That's a lot of heal held back. Under the tower, Mirk will go. Jungle God still looking for it. The ultimate is available, and he'll use it to escape. The kill not found.
The Jungle wasting a cooldown there with that ultimate, going a little bit too far, a little bit too fast. Just forcing out everything from Mirk with all you need to do.
No, Pink Coat has to be careful here. The spell shield can't stop that damage. A huge solo kill pickup for LJP.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the issue we saw last game with Canterbury. Though they had a really strong early game, really strong lane phase, they just don't know how to push leads properly, and they don't know how to, actually, win the game and play around the macro properly. I think they're very weak side in terms of, knowing what to do after the first initial breakdown goes down. I know they have very strong lanes and they're good laners, but I think past that, they just have a lot of glaring weaknesses, which St. Paul's are going to look to exploit, and I think Canterbury's going to find this game slipping away from them very quickly.
Yeah, this is starting to look a little dire for Canterbury, but at the same time, we did see them sort of turn that play around on the top side of the map as well. Aurôra getting shut down is huge for Jungle God. Like, that's more gold in this Ekko's pocket, who is definitely going for that hard AP build, wants to have that burst factor onto either LJP or Kooops, so definitely advantageous for the Jungle God in that sense, but I want to see more. I want to see, in this stage, I guess, trying to take advantage of St. Paul's when they make a play on one side of the map, going to the other side. It seems really in this game, Canterbury has been a lot more reactive.
Yeah, I mean, Canterbury have been a little bit reactive and a little bit slower, but Canterbury now, actually the proactive wants to move their bot lane away from that bot lane.
Device has to flash underneath his own tower to stay alive, but is able to stay alive. Jungle God now on the top side as well. That should scare St. Paul's off from making that tower dive, but they might recognize this Darius is low. Maybe we can make a play around Rift Herald, or maybe we can stick around and try and catch something on the backside. However, Tri-Bush is warded, so the rotation is spotted. Yellowcoat will be able to escape this jungle and not be found by the larger cat. You would think Aurôra burning a lot to get to this Yuumi, and it gets eaten alive. Yellowcoat, not much they could do there.
Yeah, little pussy goes down to big pussy, and unfortunately the cat's claws are out tonight. Rengar picking up an easy feast on the little Yuumi.
Yeah, so with that one right there, you have a numbers advantage going St. Paul's way right now. How will they play it? It looks like they're going to be content to sort of siege this mid lane. I would have liked them to see him roam up and go for that Rift Herald. However, the stun connects onto Marblefade, who then gets death sentence back into the team. LJP with a huge pickup right there. Jungle God running in 1v3, gets hit by the box and has to burn the ultimate to get out alive.
I mean, this is the same mistakes we're seeing from Canterbury, just useless fighting, useless engagements, useless, movements around the map. They just need to make sure they're just playing safer and playing towards their power spikes. Wait for Yasuo to get your Infinity Edge, wait for Sivir to get her 2 items, and then start pulling the trigger. Then start going for your pick, going for your catches, because at the moment, you're literally just running it down.
Yeah, this is not looking good. Death Sentence is spell shielded, so good, use of abilities right there from Pinkcoat. Trying to find an opening to keep this tower alive, and with no minions, St. Paul's will actually back off for now. So yes, it was a couple more kills going the blue side's way. However, they weren't really able to get many objectives for it. All they're doing right now is sort of padding their gold lead, but at only 3K at 20 minutes, it's actually quite close still.
Yeah, no, it's still definitely a closer game, but I can just see the same, macro issues and stuff that plagued Canterbury the first time coming back again in this game, and it's very much the same. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, right? Teams are still going to play exactly the same way, over time, and it takes a long time to learn and adapt, and they're not just going to do it off one game. It's going to be off multiple games, but I mean, I feel like really bad for Marblefade here in the mid lane. I think he did really well in lane phase, but I think, overall, all the lanes are winning. I just feel like Jungle God could have done more in the early game. I feel like he, didn't really farm his jungle, but didn't also gank a lot, and I feel like, he's kind of just not executed correctly, especially on an Ekko, which is not, a normal jungle pick. I feel like if it was something like a Sejuani or a Jarvan, he'd still be fun, but because it's an Ekko, one of these high AP assassins, he just can't do anything against Aurôra.
That damage from Aurôra we saw right there is exactly why you never want a Rengar to get fed and get this kind of lead. The Duskblade with the Warrior, with the Tiamat, he hits like a truck, and really anyone caught out on their own needs to be careful of this Rengar threat. That said, in mid lane right now, a bit of an interesting situation. The blue side have not been spotted, so a bit of a gank opportunity, and as they go for the tower, here comes Aurôra. Final chapter comes down and it gets the roots, but not before Pinkcoat is eaten alive. Another kill secured for Aurôra.
Yeah, and then, as I said, Aurôra here is going to be the key carry for St. Paul's. This Rengar is going to be able to pick up Canterbury, who just don't really have any map awareness or maybe any care of where their jungler is, and they don't really think about it. They don't really know, and as a result, they're just going to get caught out time and time again. You're going to see many picks coming down with this Rengar. He's going to be picking them up left, right, and center because there's just no paying attention here from Canterbury at all.
Yeah, Yellowcoat, he tried to escape before, had to go through the jungle, got caught out. Meanwhile, up around the dragon, Device One leading the charge, trying to get to Kooops. Marblefade is with them, but the guillotine will not fall. Plëb turning it around. Up above, Jungle God caught in a 1v3 situation as the rest of the team falls on the back line. Canterbury losing left, right, and center, and St. Paul's have taken this game over.
Yeah, 15-6 now. 4K gold advantage. Infernal and Mountain Dragon over to their side. St. Paul's are looking quite strong. Even though Canterbury have that later game scaling team, I just I just don't think their play or their knowledge of the game is good enough to ever really contest St. Paul's.
Yeah, St. Paul's playing super well in that team fight. Their communication was definitely on point right there. Understanding that with Canterbury split up, which matchups will enable them to win. Pink Coach stepping too far forward. Mirk chasing him down with that twisted advance and will find the kill before Yellow Coat is able to react. And really, it's just member after member being caught out a little bit too far for Canterbury. And St. Paul's now, those pings are going down on that Baron Pit. This could be a major objective going their way.
I think the next time they're going to have to reset here, start setting up vision around Baron, look for a pick onto Jungle God. The second they take him down, they'll run straight to the Baron, take that objective, and then end the game.
Yeah, that is a very likely course of action for St. Paul's, one that I'm hoping they will take. And if you're Canterbury, how do you come back into this situation?
Okay, good.
Okay. Well, I think, honestly, a more likely one would be, establishing the vision around that Baron Pit, looking for the pick, trying to catch someone out of place.
No, I mean, it's definitely more like they still got the scaling, right? Yasuo and the Sivir, obviously scale much better when they have more items in this game, so it's more just farming up, getting them to those items, and just take smarter fights. Like, they're just kind of taking really bad fights. They're not thinking about where the Rengar is going to be. They're getting picked up constantly, like here again. Not actually thinking about where Aurôra is. They picked up a ward, but I guarantee they're going to start pushing up again, and Aurora's going to sit in exactly the same spot, and they're going to think the Rengar's left when he hasn't, and he's going to grab a kill.
Yeah, that could be what happens. Death Sentence just missing, but here comes Aurôra, opting to only farm right now. The 3 members of Canterbury, they cannot leave the safety of this tower, but they might even need help should the tower dive come through. Mirk has gotten quite tanky with both that Spiritual Visage as well as the Sunfire Cake. He is more than capable of being that front line that will no longer be chopped down by Darius.
Yeah, I mean, he's still getting bigger and bigger, and Darius is not having enough magic, so he really needs to go for Black Cleaver.
That was a huge pick on the backside right there. It was Aurôra taking out Pinko, but Mirk in the 1v3. Yes, he's going to drop the ultimate and try and escape, but it will be so hard to get away from this one. Meanwhile, in that mid lane, actually, we're seeing a bit of a dive going down. Poor Marblefade on his own cannot stop the 4-man strong invade from St. Paul's. It will be an inhibitor traded for the Maokai. That's not something I think Canterbury wants.
No, I think it's a great trade from St. Paul's, giving up the Maokai there. Mirk could have lived his back up a little bit faster, but overall, not too bad. St. Paul's, they're picking up that first inhibitor. It'll give them a lot of pressure in that mid lane and definitely help them grab this Baron.
Yeah, Baron should be the objective they go for now, especially with the threat of super minions walking straight down the middle of the map. It does mean Canterbury cannot really afford to send all 5 members to the pit. However, St. Paul is opting to reset as opposed to sort of setting up the death push or going for the Baron straight away. So it might buy Canterbury a little bit of time to establish some vision of their own in their side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, Canterbury definitely needs to start getting wards on this Baron, so at least they can know when they can go for a potential steal. Jungle God obviously always having a gap closer to get over the wall, get in there. But obviously missing the smite earlier on that Mountain Dragon that St. Paul stole away means that, maybe his, smite isn't that confident as well. Being down a level doesn't help as well. Obviously, smite does more damage the higher level you are, so it makes it a little bit harder for him to get anything on Aurôra. But Vision now placing the pit, and SPS back onto the map now, looking to apply some pressure.
That they are. Plëb clearing out that vision in the Baron Pit. Jungle God sort of stalking, but needs to be careful because there's a lot of members of St. Paul's converging on him. Here comes Aurôra. Nom nom nom. Goes the jungle. And really, Aurôra is just, you can't be alone anywhere on this map at any time.
No, because he's 9-3 now. He needs to get this. They should just go straight to Baron, right? Jungle's dead. They can't contest it. They should just start at the Baron. Kooops looks like he's doing just that.
Yeah, this is going to be a nearly free Baron for St. Paul's. Jungle God without Smite, without being alive, really can't do too much. So it should be a clean pickup for the blue side, and with that, they will empower their minions, enable an even stronger push than what they already have, and look for that game-ending fight. It is St. Paul's to lose at this stage moving forward. Really, it's been that way since the 16-minute mark, and if you are Canterbury, it's now time for that miracle team fight.
Yeah, I mean, most definitely. They really need to turn this around and get this huge team fight. Sivir as well, going for, Phantom Dance and Essence Reaver, maybe not the two strongest items on that champion. I think she definitely needs to, try to work out. But 0-5, 185 CS, it's very hard for her to really do anything when this Rengar's just jumping on it every time she steps up to a wave.
Yeah, it's going to be a tight one for sure. I'm trying to think, who am I looking for to make the play right here for Canterbury? Who can help enable that save? Because you want to get that big knockup for Marblefade, but because of the team composition that they selected, really it's almost all on him to enable that wombo. Maybe Yellow Coat with a good lost chapter could help. He's able to get that root down onto LJP, but the Lantern is there to stop it. Meanwhile, Jungle God flashing forward. They're trying to get to Kooops to flash out defensively. Plëb is the one who's caught out on his own as Pinkcoat throwing those autos down. Up above, Aurôra is in the fight and doing work, but Marblefade has taken out Kooops. The AD carry is down. A huge last press actually forces Marble back, but no, they trade. Rengar gets 2 before falling himself. This is not the fight that St. Paul's wanted. It's 3 for 3. LJP still trying to find something off that backside, but it has to be careful because Pinkcoat still on full health. Up above, Mirk getting that siege on. The base will start to fall. Super minions starting to come in. LJP is going to try and stop the backs. Help those super minions get into the base. Mirk up top, you can see that top tower is already at half health. Super minions are starting to hit those Nexus towers. Down below as well, LJP getting that siege going. Meanwhile, Pinkcoat cannot do much against this Maokai. He is so tanky. He needs help. Finally, St. Paul's looks to back off.
Yeah, St. Paul's finally backing off. Gets an inhibitor tower though, but no, Maokai will stay there and try pressure onto this inhibitor. 1 versus 5 in the base, so it looks like he'll go down.
He might go down for this. Jungle God stepping forward, the inhibitor at half. Mirk recognizing, hey, Jungle God's on his own, and I do a lot of damage. He's actually winning this trade right now. Jungle God, he needs help. Ultimate is used, buys him some health. Marble is on his way up as well, going to try and cut this tree down. However, Mirk is flashing forward. He wants the inhibitor before he falls. The last breath is trying to buy time, but no! The inhibitor does go down. Mirk now in a 1v3 situation finally falls as the 4th arrives, but fantastic from that Maokai.
Yeah, I mean, Maokai there, one of the tankiest champions in the game, able to just like farm up one of the 2 super tanks, you know, Cho'Gath and Maokai, those 2 mega big tanks, all in now another one they added into the game just after that meta had faded away. But classic Maokai up in that top side just being huge up there, and Aurôra annihilating that Scuttlebug.
Yeah, so with 2 inhibitors down, Baron as well on the side of St. Paul's, everything going even further in their advantage. Gold lead's still under 10k, which honestly is actually quite significant in and of itself. You would expect it to be more given the circumstance offer, and that really is credit to how strong Canterbury's laning phase is. I think moving forward, though, into future years, as you were saying before, it would be nice to see this team be able to transition it into that mid and late game. St. Paul, they have done that beautifully. They have kept the pressure going from pretty much the word go in this match, and one more team fight will end the game in their favor.
Yeah, precisely. St. Paul's needing that, just that little bit extra kind of end this game away from Canterbury. And man, I mean, Canterbury just, it's the same issues they had last game. They had such a strong early and they looked so strong.
Oh my gosh, Marblefade on his own nearly gets eaten. The final chapter as well has been read, so no ultimate from the Yuumi. Here comes that Wombo though. They are looking for a Canterbury, but they don't have the damage. Pinkcoat is down, as is their main damage source, and with that, St. Paul's is looking to end the game. A big double kill for LJP as only 2 members of Canterbury are still alive. It's up to Marblefade. It is up to Jungle God, but Jungle God is just getting bullied by Mark. He's trying to do what he can, but the Death Sentence helps bring him down. Marblefade, the last man standing, gets the kill actually onto Aurôra, but with those inhibitors spawning, they are going to quickly fall. How much time can he buy? He has to survive for 20 seconds. It's not going to happen unless the miracle gets shut down by LJP. There is the ace. There is the game. St. Paul's takes game 3 here at the Ekka.
Yeah, St. Paul's first game on stage, obviously coming through and taking on a very swift victory there. Well, not swift, but a very comprehensive victory. I think, man, Canterbury, they were just so far ahead or so strong in the early game, but they just couldn't get their leads, couldn't track Aurôra properly, and Aurôra, man, coming through and just destroying and carrying SPS.
Yeah, Rengar jungle is one of the most difficult junglers to play effectively because it's super feast or famine, like to the utmost degree. And he had a feast in this one. He was just picking off people left, right, and center. And I feel that's just a mistake from Canterbury and not quite understanding we cannot afford to be alone at any moment. Too many times people were getting caught out in like their own jungle or in the enemy jungle, and it would just be an easy one shot for Aurôra. Let's keep the snowball going. Let's keep the 5v4 on the map.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, look, honestly, I think we have to give MVP to Aurôra for St. Paul's. I think that's pretty obvious. I feel like, you know, Kooops and Plëb did okay there in the bot lane, but I feel like the, you know, top and mid kind of got beaten a little bit. But it was just like, Canterbury, man, just again, that lack of knowing and lack of, you know, respect for their opponents, lack of tracking of knowing exactly where they are, and just getting taken down time and time again and losing this game. However, I do think the best player was definitely Marblefade. I would have to say the mid laner played the best, in my opinion. I think he definitely, you know, in the Orianna game as well, played quite well. Obviously had perfect, or had a really good CS, I think he had like 8.5 CSPM on that Yasuo, and I think, you know, the rest of the team kind of got caught out a little bit too much for it to really be relevant. I think, I mean, he got caught out as well, but I feel like in the lane phase, he was one that really dominated, and despite having Aurôra in his lane quite a lot, was able to successfully get through that game.
I do hear where you're coming from with that one, but I also would have liked to see a bit more from him, considering how much of a winning matchup that is. I feel as if LJP could have been punished a bit more on that Syndra, and I also do want to give credit to Yellowcoat in that game as well. Yuumi had some clutch saves. We saw that kill underneath the tower as well. I think, for the most part, the pressure and the positioning from the Yuumi was fine. Unfortunately, in a lot of these situations, there wasn't too much a Yuumi can do in these fights. And towards the end of the game, we saw a couple of those lost chapters kind of go the wrong direction or used prematurely. Kind of dropped off, I think, as maybe it was a case of team morale falling a bit. I'm not too sure. Definitely, it was a tougher game for Canterbury in that one. It was a close game in the sense of, like, for the first 15 minutes, we were tight. But as soon as St. Paul smelt that